Hey guys, welcome back. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to convert fractions to percentage. So I'm going to show you like two different ways of doing that. And I have three examples here. So I have a very simple example. So just 1 out of 2. Then I have 5 by 12. And then I have a mixed fraction, 4 whole 1 by 4. Okay, let's start solving it now. So first we have 1 by 2. So what we are going to do in our method 1 is we are simply going to convert this to a decimal first and then multiply that by 100. To get our percentage. So 1 out of 2 is what? 1 divided by 2 is what? Since we can't divide 1 by 2, we add a decimal here and same thing here, and then we just add a 0 here. Now we can divide 10 by 2. 2 times 5 is 10, and then the remainder is 0. So 1 out of 2 is 0.5 or 0.5. So now we have our fraction as a decimal, and to convert it to a percentage, we're just going to multiply this by 100. This is our second step. And here's the trick. Whenever we multiply a decimal with 10 or 100, we move the decimal one place forward with 10 and then 2 places forward with 100, depending on how many zeros we have here. Since we can rewrite 0.5 as 0.500, we can have all the zeros we want on the right. Multiply by 100. So this just becomes, since we are multiplying it by 100, this is going to go 2 places forward, so it's going to end up here. So this just becomes 50. 50.0 is just 50. And since we multiply the number with 100, we can just add the percentage sign here, because percentage is what? Percentage is out of 100, because we are saying this is out of 100. 50% is just 50 out of 100. 0 cancels this one, and 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10. So we have our original fraction. So 1 out of 2 is 50%, and here's our answer. Okay, now let's solve our second one, 5 out of 12. So we're gonna do the same thing first. Step 1 is we're simply gonna divide it and convert it to a decimal. So 5 divided by 12. Since we can't divide 5 by 12, we're gonna add a decimal here, same thing here, and we are gonna add a 0 here. Now 12 times 4 is 48. That's the closest we can get before the number becomes bigger than 50, because 12 times 5 is 60. That's gonna be bigger than 50, so we don't need it. 12 times 4 is 48. So we're just gonna multiply it by 4. 12 times 4 is 48. We're gonna subtract this, and 50 minus 48 is 2. Okay, and now we're gonna carry one more 0 here. Now 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. So we're just gonna multiply it with 1. So 12 times 1 is 12. Let's subtract this, and then we get an 8. Again, we're gonna add a 0 here. We can just carry 1 0 at a time. Now 12 times 6 is 72, 12 times 7 is 84. So the closest number before getting over this 80 is 12 times 6. 12 times 6 is 72. We're gonna subtract it, we get 8 again. So you see we are getting 8 again. It'll be the same thing. We'll carry a 0 and then it'll be 6. And then it's gonna keep repeating, because we're gonna keep getting 8. So we know it's gonna be a repeating 6 here. So we can just stop our division here, because we know we're just gonna get a repeating 6. So 5 divided by 12 just becomes 0.41666. And now our second step is just multiplying this by 100. And when we multiply this by 100, this decimal is gonna go 2 places forward, remember? So it's gonna end up here. So it's gonna be 41.666, and you have 2 ways of rewriting this. You can either just say 41.6, add a bar here. That just means it's repeating. 6 is just gonna keep repeating, and add a percentage sign here. Or we can just convert it to 2 decimal places or 1 decimal places, depending on what you need here. So if we convert it to 2 decimal places, this just becomes 41.666, let's say. And if we want 2 decimal places, we're gonna look at the number after two decimals, so in the third spot here, so this is 6. Since this is greater or equal than 5, we increase this number by a 1, so it just becomes 41.67. and then again the same thing, we add a percentage here. So there are two ways of rewriting this. Because we have a repeating 6, we can just say 41.6, add a bar here showing it's a repeating 6 percentage, or we can just say 41.67 percentage, and here is your answer. Okay, and now let's solve our mixed fraction here. So we have 4 whole 1/4. So first let's convert it to an improper fraction. So 4 whole 1/4 is what? Whenever we convert a mixed fraction to an improper fraction, so improper fraction is what? Where the numerator is greater than the denominator. So the number on the top is greater than the number on the bottom, and it's just one number on both the numerator and the denominator. So what we do here is we multiply this number with this number, and then we add the result with the numerator, and the denominator remains the same. So 4 whole 1/4 is what? We are going to multiply 4 with 4. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is what? 17. So this becomes 17 out of 4. Okay, now let's do the same step. Let's convert this to a decimal. So we have 17 out of 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. So we don't need 5 because it's greater than this number. So 4 times 4 is 16. Let's subtract this. We get a 1 here. Okay, so we get 1. Since we can't divide 1/4, we add a decimal here, and then we can start carrying zeros here. So we're gonna carry a 0 here, and same thing here, we're gonna add a decimal. Now 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. So we know it's 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Let's subtract this. We get a 2. Let's add one more 0 here. Now 4 times 5 is 20. We have a 0 remainder. So 17 out of 4 is just 4.25. And our final step is what? We are just going to multiply this by 100 and add the percentage sign. And since we are multiplying it by 100, this decimal is going to go 2 places forward. So it's going to end up right here. So it just becomes 425. And we are gonna add the percentage sign. So 4 whole 1/4 is just 425%, and here's our answer. Okay, now we're gonna use our method number 2. So our second method, which is just we are gonna take the fraction and multiply it directly by 100. So we're gonna take our fraction 1/2 in this case, and we are gonna multiply this by 100. And in the end, we're just gonna add the percentage sign. So 1 out of 2 times 100. So 2 times 50 is 100, and then we just multiply 1 with 50. So it's 50 here, and then in the end we just add the percentage sign. So here's our answer. So now let's go our second example. So second example, we can't really use this easily because we can't really multiply 12 with a number to get 100. So we're gonna end up doing the same division method, and it's not really helpful here. So let's just skip this. But in the second one, we have a denominator which we can multiply with a number to get 100. So we can use this method with this number. So 4 whole 1/4 is what? 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. So we get 17 divided by 4, and we're gonna multiply this by 100. So 4 times what is 100? 4 times 25 is 100. So this is just 17 times 25, and we are gonna get our same 425 when we multiply this, and we are gonna add the percentage sign. So method 2 is really helpful if the denominator, which is this number, can be multiplied with another number to get 100. So it's not really helpful if you have a number like 5 out of 12 where the denominator you can't multiply a number to get 100. But let's say if you have let's say 3 out of 5, we know 3 out of 5, we know we can multiply 5 with 20 to get 100, convert this to a percentage. So we can just do times 100. 5 times 20 is 100. So this just becomes 3 times 20 equals 60. and we just add the percentage sign. So method 2 is really helpful. It's the denominator. So this number right here can be multiplied to a number to get 100. Okay, so hope this helped. Okay, finally I'm gonna give you one more tip. So what we can do is to convert a fraction to a percentage, we just need to convert this denominator, which is this number, to 100. We know that because a percentage is 1 is a number out of 100. So we need to multiply this with a number to get 100. Now what number can we multiply with 25 to get 100? It is 4. And we simply multiply the numerator, which is this number, with the same number. So this just becomes 25 times 4 is 100, and 11 times 4 is 44, and 44 divided by 100 is just 44%, because percentage means out of 100. So this method really works if you have a denominator, which is this number, which you can easily multiply with another number to get 100. So let's convert 9 out of 50 to a percentage. Now what number can we multiply 50 with to get 100? It's just 2. And since we multiply the denominator with 2, we need to multiply the numerator with 2 as well. So this just becomes 18 divided by 100 equals 18%. Okay, so if you ever run into a fraction where the denominator is, let's say it's a number that you can easily multiply with another number to get 100, for example, if it's 5, because 5 we can multiply with 20 to get 100, or if it's 10, because 10 times 10 is 100, same thing with 20, because 20 times 5 is 100, and then 25 times 4 is 100, 50 times 2 is 100, and then finally if you have 100, it's already in percentage, because 100 times 1 is 100. So if you ever see, let's say, a number 23 out of 100, to convert this to a percentage, we don't need to do anything. We just write this as 23%, because the denominator is already 100. So if you ever run into a fraction where it's any of these, so 5, 10, 20, 25, 50, 100, where the denominator is any of these numbers, we can easily convert that fraction to a percentage. If you found this helpful, please leave a like and subscribe, and let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you for watching.